You are listening to the Two Gingers podcast, streaming on Apple Podcasts and Podbean now. Here are your hosts, Sir William and the Duchess.
Good day. My name is Sir William, and I am here with the Duchess on the podcast.
That's me. I'm still the Duchess, coming to you from the Duchess Studios of the BR.
That's right.
Yeah.
Super fun over here at
I
the
know.
Duchess Studios. We got posters of you on the wall.
I know.
Now I get to look at you, get to look at the bling. And most importantly, something that people learned just the other day, the unicorns.
I know. We get to look at the unicorns.
Who knew about the unicorn obsession?
Well,
I know we've talked about them, but
Yes. I think some people locally know my obsession with the unicorns, but I need to make it clear with our podcast family. It's not the creepy old unicorns that look a little scary and almost medieval-ish.
no.
They are the super cutesy, cartoony, blingy
Right.
unicornies.
Yeah, and I have to think that one of the coolest unicorn things you've ever received were the unicorn floaties
Oh my gosh, for the pool?
for the pool, where you can just stick your drink in
Yes.
there and it floats.
I absolutely
You
love
still have those?
Of course I do. I still use them on the daily.
That's cool.
I absolutely love them. So, yes, my obsession continues with the unicorns, and I can't believe that you don't like this view. I mean, not of me, but when we look outside and we see all of those beautiful flowers and the golf course right there, I mean...
I think you're mixing up what I like and don't like. I wanted to see if the cords reached out to the table that's right out in the middle of all
I
that.
think that Brent is working on that.
What if we could get the whole thing wireless and just drive around on your golf cart?
How would we stop the wind from...
Well, that's
the only thing.
Fair point.
Fair
but
point,
If
but-
there was no wind on a given day,
I'm down.
that would be fun.
I am totally down. So how do you think this is going, Sir William? I mean, aside from us being able to record whenever, wherever.
And say whatever and whenever we want.
Right.
Some people thought we had Tourette's after last week's fucking show.
I know, it was awesome. It was awesome. I am really loving not having any...
It's so hard to describe the constrictions.
Constrictions.
we had.
That's the word I was looking for.
It's hard to describe that.
It really is, and I am absolutely loving it. I would really like it if more people would be listening.
Yeah, we need to get more people listening. Maybe people could share it with a friend.
Hey, why don't
We
we
could have
do
a share
that?
a friend program.
Could you share it with a friend today and invite them to like us on social media, which is the number 2, Gingers with a Z?
Yeah, and let's keep in mind before we share everybody how to get to all of our social media. We actually we were thinking of you, and we decided to podcast fewer shows because 5 shows a week, that's a lot
it
for
is a lot.
people to listen to. And so we have a ton of people that would listen, but I think you might go through and like I do with other programs that are on. You go through and pick based on the title.
Right.
I might be interested in this.
Right.
So we're trying to do one and make it just uber interesting.
Yeah. Or
each time.
fun.
Right.
Yeah.
We want to lift you up.
I know, because
And
we
be
are
uber interesting.
still hashtag people helping people. We still will have some people come on and interview and such, which I'm really excited about because then we really don't have to hold back at all.
That's right.
That's going to be super
That's
exciting.
coming soon, too,
It
by the
is.
way.
It is. But what I'd also like you to do for us, if you wouldn't mind, is go ahead and write us a little 5-star review.
That would be fun.
What do you like about
Yes.
Sir William and the Duchess on Two Gingers. And you know what? I'm okay if you reference back to when we were still called Two Dudes and the Duchess. I'm okay with that as long as it's 5 stars.
That's
you
right.
can say all of the pleasantries you would like. Or you can find us on social media by doing this.
Please follow us on social media. Our website is twogingers.com. That's gingers with a Z. On Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Two Gingers. And on Twitter at Two Gingers. At Sir William 1015 and at the Duchess 1015.
Yes. Now, as I said earlier, we, Uber appreciate our people who listen to us, our listeners.
Yes.
And we do try to lift them up every day.
We do.
Yeah. So I clearly use those 2 words intentionally.
I got you.
We're going to play a little game today.
Oh, boy.
We like our games on this show, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
All right, let me give you a little backstory. So we've been talking for a while. For those of you, I think I've mentioned it a few times on the air, that as work lately, I've been doing some driving of the Uber and Lyft variety. And we've talked about doing like a bit that was, confessions in the backseat of a taxi cab kind of thing and all of that. And one of the things I didn't know when I started was whether or not most of the rides would be local or not. And we certainly wouldn't want to do that if it was, local folks.
Right.
Turns out hardly any of them are local people.
Yeah.
If I am lucky, I'll get one on my way to downtown. But downtown, Lincoln Park, Wrigleyville, those are kind of the places where a lot of people need rides, and you want to get them like as quickly as you can if you're out driving and whatnot. So instead of that, decided to bring some stories to you.
Oh, boy.
And these are ones that you have never heard, so
Okay.
this will be kind of fun.
Okay.
I also went online because I wanted to see just how crazy some of the things that have happened to me are.
Yeah.
So I went online and I found some stories on there. So I grabbed a couple from there and I sort of mixed them up. And so I'm going to tell you the story.
Oh, gosh.
And then you need to tell me whether that happened to me or to somebody else.
Okay, but before we get into this, before we start, because you mentioned that you're not really driving around here, for the people who are just tuning in for the first time, we are coming to you from Huntley, Illinois.
Correct.
And I'm wondering, you haven't, or have you driven around on the weekends here at night?
I have not.
Because that's the only time that we use the Uber around here, is on the weekends in the evening.
Right. I typically have stuck to the daytime.
Yeah.
I'm an Uber user at night.
Right.
I just, there's no like specific reason. I know that's probably great money. I think you're also dealing with more potential problems.
Yeah.
Obviously, because you're going to get a lot of drinkers and stuff like that, which is fine. I'm not judging.
Right.
But I've primarily stuck to the daytime. And like I said, it's about 45 miles from here to downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
If you go downtown Chicago, you literally, as somebody's getting out of your car, you're getting dinged for another ride.
Yeah.
And it's similar because nobody lives downtown, or very few people live downtown. It's similar in areas like Wrigleyville and Lincoln Park and kind of some of those areas where not a lot of people have their own cars.
Yeah.
Or if they do, they don't want to move them because parking's so hard and that kind of thing.
Right.
So there's a lot of Ubering that's happening on that.
All right.
There's also people going from here to there to go to airports and things like that.
Sure.
And that's actually what I'm finding success is to get a mix of those people looking for the shorter rides with a couple airplane things.
Yes.
And,
Okay.
And then it's all good.
All
so
right.
again, here's some stories
Hit me.
that have happened in the last couple of weeks.
Hit me, and I'm going to
to
try to figure this out.
It's me or them. All right. I picked up a few guys that were planning on going to a friend's hotel room to drink. They brought along a garbage bag full of Bud Light. On the way there, they decided to go straight to a bar instead. When we got to the bar, they left without the bag full of beers, and when I pointed out that, they told me that I could keep it as a tip. That was 3 weeks ago, and I still have a bunch left. Did that happen to me, or did that happen to some random person?
Rando.
You're right.
Nice.
Although the clue there that I thought maybe would make you think that it was me was I don't like Bud Light.
I know.
So there would still be a bunch left, like all of it. All right. Next story. 3 women squeeze into my car with 3 bags, meaning suitcases.
Oh, okay.
My trunk, I have a Chrysler 200, so mid-sized car, I think that qualifies as. My trunk is completely packed with 2 of the 3 suitcases. There literally is not room for a third, just to let you know how big these bags are.
Okay.
So there was 3 women. 1 sat in front, 2 were in the back with this third big bag in between them. It was very weird. They were stoned to the bejesus when they got into my car, and they asked if they could vape in my car. They said they were getting on an international flight, and they wanted to be chill on the flight.
That totally happened.
It totally happened.
Totally.
Can you believe that?
No, but my God.
And I don't know, like, what the proper response is supposed to be about the vaping thing.
Yeah.
Now, I know that being around other people that have vaped, I know it doesn't leave much of... It's not like smoke.
Yeah.
Smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little vape
Right.
smoke, but... So I just figured, like, I'm just trying to be nice to people.
Right.
I'm hoping for the tip.
Right.
And by the way, PSA announcement.
Uh-oh.
And I did this the other day.
I know.
I got on Facebook Live. I did a little PSA. I'm like, tip your drivers. Unless they totally screw you up.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they can't follow their map or you ask them to stop at 7-Eleven and they don't or whatever.
Yeah.
Tip your driver.
No.
Even if it's $1.
No. Here's the thing. I am not tipping a driver that can't get me successfully from point A
That's
to
what I'm
point
saying.
B. Okay.
Don't.
I thought you were like even. I thought you
no.
said even if.
Nope,
because
nope.
Big and I had the worst Uber driver in Arizona. The worst. We were leaving his family's home and we're going back to the hotel. And dude took us all the way through town and started taking us back to the house. He never put
that address.
the hotel address in. So he just drove around for 15 minutes until we were like, what are you doing? Because we're also in another state. We don't know the area very well. That's annoying. He did not get a tip.
I agree with that. Now,
Right.
I will say, in defense, not of that person, but of some people, both the Uber app and the Lyft app seem to crap out right at the end of the thing. And the other thing I would say...
This was at the beginning.
If you're downtown
Yeah.
and the app takes you to Lower Wacker Drive, have you ever been down there?
Yeah.
Lower Wacker?
Yeah.
It completely shuts down.
Right.
On you. So if you don't know that very well,
Yeah.
there could be some circling happening.
I got you.
Those are the only 2 instances.
But when
of
I'm
that.
in your car and you're driving me back to my
Right.
starting point...
And I would say I would never tip somebody who does that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is even like $1 makes a person feel like, oh, I am like, personally, I'm working really hard to make it a nice experience.
You are. And truth be told is that now it gives you that option because before it wasn't. And that's why people really loved it, myself included, that I didn't even have to worry. It was a one step. It was one price set before I got in. I didn't have to worry about anything. And that was it. And now...
But I think it pops up, right?
Now it does.
Now, when you're done, and you can use the star
Not until
system.
I open it again.
Oh, not until you open it again.
Correct.
Oh.
Because honestly, I'm getting out of your car.
Well, then, yeah.
Why am I looking
then
at
I
it?
wouldn't expect it, and I certainly wouldn't expect it
That's why.
at night.
I think that's why. Because what if that person that you drove around or even to the airport and now they're in another country, they're not using Uber over there or their phones don't
Could
work.
be a week later.
It might be a week later, and then you're going to see like a nice
even
little...
if it's another ride later, you're not even going to remember.
Right.
Unless it was off the charts or you had great conversation with somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
I do feel bad because I had a really good Uber driver here recently, and when I opened up my app, we were trying to go someplace real fast downtown, and I just swiped it closed. I was like, hey, I don't know what you're asking me. And then I realized they were trying to get me to tip my previous driver, and I felt really bad. And I don't know if I can go back in.
You can.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
It'll show like the history of the rides you've had. You could do that.
Okay. Well, when we're done, show me how to do that because now I feel bad. I want to go back and tip the guy who was really good that helped us get around town.
I will tell you, after I went on Facebook Live, and I know that had nothing to do with it other than maybe some karma.
Yeah.
And I said, tip your Uber driver.
Yeah.
I got 3 tips after that were cash. People gave me cash. Which I
Thank
was
you.
like,
Even better.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Next story. 3 people got in my car. One is very drunk. When I drop them off at their place, the other 2 can't get the hammered one inside.
Oh, no.
So I get out of my car and firemen carry him into the house, all while the other 2 are laughing their ass off and Snapchatting me. When I go to leave, my car is stuck in the snowbank and I can't get out. Luckily, the other 2 offered to help me out, and they pushed my car out of the snowbank, and I drove off.
False, because you weren't driving when it was snowing.
All right.
Yet.
You could see that happening, though. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it happened to us. Remember?
Right.
When we were trying to get you into your house.
Right. All right.
All right.
You ready for this next one?
Sure.
And this is a good learning lesson for those of you who might travel as a couple in the Uber or Lyft ride. A couple gets into the back seat of the car, and they proceed to whisper to one another about getting on each other as soon as they get home.
Oh.
Like in graphic detail.
Nice.
And I could hear them as clear as day.
Oh.
Even though they were whispering.
I love it.
Think that happened?
Totally.
It totally did.
Yeah.
You're good at this.
Yeah. Well, you have a little bit too much detail on yours.
Yeah.
And you're really reading the others, but it's still entertaining.
All right.
I still like these stories.
All right. That was just so weird.
I bet.
So weird.
Was part of you like, I can't believe people really talk to each other this way?
That was part of it.
Yeah.
And they were married and they had a child. It was just weird.
It was a trifecta.
Was so weird.
Trifecta of craziness.
Yeah, and here's another thing. If you're like sitting in the back seat of one of these rides,
right,
and either you're talking on your phone or whatever, you're talking to the person next to you.
Yeah.
And you're kind of wondering, like, I wonder if they're listening or they're just in their own world listening to music. I'm listening to everything as intently as possible. When they're on the phone and they're talking to work, I'm trying to figure out what job they do, who they work for, who they're talking to.
Are they going to hire me?
Like all this stuff. Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah. So
we're
listening.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, Sir William, because I talk a lot of stuff in the backs of cars. Good, bad, and indifferent. So I'm just curious.
All right, a few months back, I picked up a man and woman in their 40s from a restaurant. They were clearly not having a good time, still arguing about something. That's awkward, too, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Toward the end of the ride, he punches her in the face as hard as he could. When we pull up at the destination, he pulls out a knife and starts to threaten her and then me. I tell him to take it outside, and I drive away. I couldn't help feel bad for the woman, so I drove to the county sheriff's department and told them what happened. Luckily, the Uber black cars have a camera inside that recorded the events. When the sheriff looked at the video, he asked for the address, and they arrested the guy. I also reported the incident to Uber. They called me back and took a recorded statement by the phone.
Didn't happen to you, but I'm glad to hear that this is how it goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew you would think that because I would have told you about that right
Immediately.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
But crazy,
Yeah.
nonetheless.
And I know you don't have a camera.
In my car, yeah. Actually, that brings up a good point. I was riding, actually, to the Club 400
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I get into this guy's car, and he's got a camera. He had, like, 2 phones, a camera. Like, he is Uber decked out.
But
right? So I'm like, I got to ask you. And you know, from my house to Club 400 is about a minute drive.
Yeah. 4 seconds.
I got to ask you, what's the camera for?
Yeah.
And he started describing some things that went on, and he's like, it's just to protect me. And it was a 2-way camera.
Oh, okay.
So it was recording what was in front of him and
Yeah.
behind him.
Yeah.
So also if you get hit,
Right.
it's for insurance
Right.
and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, that's good. And he's like, they're dirt cheap. You can get them for like $40-$50 online. So I was like, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Of course, I haven't done anything about it, but anyway. All right, next one. Funny story, actually. My friend's an Uber driver, too, and he was telling me how this girl peed in his car and how funny yet utterly disgusting it was. I'm out driving the following week, and this passenger was telling me how she peed in some guy's car the previous week. I was in such fear, and she made a comment how I began to drive faster. When we got to her destination and she got out, I told her I knew who the driver was of the car that she peed in. Other than that, I haven't had anything crazy or hilarious. I don't drive past 2 a.m. for that exact reason.
Oh my gosh. That didn't happen to you, but that is hilarious.
You were spot on all these. I think I'd tell you.
I think
again.
because you have told me about the craziest ones thus far.
Yeah. And that wasn't one of them. But that is funny.
Funny, scary, all
right.
of the above.
Wrapped up into one big ball.
Right.
Of fun.
Yeah.
All right. I think I told you the other day about the concerts.
Yeah.
So the day you were at
Kesha and Macklemore.
There was also like a country thunder thing downtown.
Yes.
There was Journey and
Def Leppard.
at Wrigley Field.
Yep.
There was another big one at the United Center. And then out here in Lake in the Hills, Ribfest, there was the Little River Band, which is not as big. But picking up and driving people to concerts, a big deal for the Uber thing.
Totally.
And as a matter of fact, I'll give Uber and Lyft a shout out for drivers. They actually send you those like schedules and where they're at, so you know those events are happening.
Yeah.
And you want to drive in that direction.
Yeah.
And then they actually, I don't know if you know this, but they charge you more as a rider when you're in. Okay.
Oh, I know. I will say Tinley Park, which is about 75 miles from us.
Yeah.
Uber, not a thing. They have this little area, where there's 5 or 6 hotels, and there are just lines and lines of taxis.
Okay.
And they are just ready to zip you down and zip you back and ride share the whole 9. So I don't know. I wanted to really hook up somebody for Uber, but it was really easy to just jump in the car that was already sitting there.
Sure.
So it depends.
Yeah.
It depends. But, it's the way to go when you want to be careful and you don't want to, risk anything. And let's be honest, you're going to a concert, you're going to have a couple cocktails, you're going to have a couple beers, something. Why risk it when this is an availability? Because it used to be, just even a few years ago, it used to be that you had to get a car service or a limo. Those are hundreds of dollars that you're spending.
Right.
So this makes it more affordable for everyone, and there's really no reason for you to get behind the wheel after you've had a couple. There's no reason.
None.
Yeah.
All right. So, along the concert vein, picked up 2 guys from a Billy Corgan concert.
Not you.
Smashing Pumpkins. Why'd you say that?
Keep going.
They got in and they wanted to play their own music. Asked if I liked Queen. Yes, I do, I said. Puts on Bohemian Rhapsody and turns it up. When that ended, he asked what I like. I said Rush. He puts on Tom Sawyer. We jam. Then he puts on Van Halen. We jam more. I pull up to their place, and the dude in the back was like, great ride. We should have filmed that because it would have made an awesome Uber commercial. It's people like that make your night fun.
I completely agree.
Can you imagine?
Not you.
How? Because?
Because when was Smashing Pumpkins here?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, all right. All right, next one. A couple more.
Okay.
Actually, just 2 more. It was absolutely pouring rain.
Okay.
Oh, you don't have the answer yet?
Not yet.
We were in an area of the city that I wasn't really familiar with.
Could be you.
So when the Uber driver was calling us and telling us where he was, we just couldn't see him. We weren't really on the street, and we're taking cover under a roof, so we had some problems making out our intersection. Mm-hmm. A minute passes, and we get a call from the driver asking us where we are, as he is trying to find us. We explain. We start to hear his voice getting louder as we see a man with a jacket running towards us. The man undoubtedly knows it was us calling, and without any hesitation, this man throws his rain jacket on one of the girls and just takes us running to his car. Pretty cool dude. 5 stars right there.
So cute. So not you. You're not running anywhere.
Hilarious. All right, and this is your chance to get 100%.
Okay.
On the big
right.
big game here.
It's the last one.
A guy gets dropped off at a driving school.
Oh boy.
On the way, he stops by 7-Eleven, and he comes out with a brown paper bag. No idea what's in there. Once he gets to the driving school, he sees that the school is closed, and not for an obvious reason. So he comes back in the car before I left, because you could kind of tell it was closed by looking at it, and we turn around and go back to his house. He left the bag in the back seat of the car. It was 6 small bottles of booze. 3 of them were gone.
Oh my goodness. Did this happen to you? I'm going to say not.
That one did.
It did?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I have no idea if he was teaching, student. He looked older.
Yeah.
He looked like he was old enough that he should be driving.
Oh my goodness.
So I didn't know he was a teacher. I didn't know what his role was.
That's just what you want, is your driving ed teacher drinking.
And then he gets back into my car before I was gone, and then he calls somebody and he's like, yeah, the school's closed, so I'm just going to go back home. And I'm trying to pick up clues on it and nothing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, pretty crazy.
That is nuts.
Pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh. If you have any funny Uber stories, hit us up on social media and let us know. Where's our social media, you might ask?
Please follow us on social media. Our website is twogingers.com. That's gingers with a Z. On Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at 2gingers, and on Twitter at 2gingers, at Sir William 1015, and at the Duchess 1015.
Sir William, this was hilarious. Thank you so much.
We also have a couple more from the internet that are of the audio variety, so we'll play those for you.
Awesome.
Right now.
All right. Until next time, bye-bye.
And stay classy.
So she pulls out a 20 or something like that out of her pocket.
Oh, no.
Rolls that boy up, pops up in the back, leans the chair back, right?
Oh, no.
And just, in my car.
So it's 2 a.m., the drunk hour, when the magic phrase last call drives the inebriated into the streets. I pick up this couple. It was obviously a date. The girl had flowers. The guy was completely drunk. We get to the location. She says, okay, we got to get him out so you can take me home. He says, I'm not leaving you. Nah. She says, okay, I will take him out to the curb, then I'll get back into the car. And does that. Before she could close the door, he jumps into the back seat. Nah, I'm not leaving you. Nah. So she gets out trying to coax him out, and I said, sir, you really have to leave the car. And then he changed. What are you talking about? He gets out and he gets into the driver's side and he starts throwing punches, raining blows on my head, rapid fire.
Are you serious?
I am completely serious. I'm sitting there holding up my arms, trying to deflect it.
Yeah.
And then I get a hold of his wrist so he can, and he's like giving me the death stare, trying to throw punches. He gets out, goes around, opens up the driver's side door to try and get a better shot at me, and I end up just driving off.
Were the doors open?
Yeah, the door's open.
What the hell?
I drive down a couple of blocks, and then I start writing to the app saying this guy made me feel unsafe. He caught up to where I was and starts beating on the driver's side window. I try to drive away. He's trying to get him. He's like trying to confront a car. What are you gonna do? I drive past him.
Yeah.
Drive down a lot longer, maybe a mile or so. I finish up driving, and then I notice he left his phone in the car. I did not go back. I kept that thing. I took it to the hub where they have the real people there.
Yeah.
Went to them. I filled out the form. Here's this guy's phone. This is this ride. You guys can deal with returning it to him. I don't want to see this guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they did. They said they maybe temporarily banned him, but they said as far as anything further, we'll take the appropriate action. So I don't know what happened.
It was maybe about 2:30 night, 3 o'clock when the bars were all out. And I'm trying to find this guy and all of a sudden I hear like a whistle, like a whoosh. So he sits in the back. He's cool, like he's this British rocker. You know, we're talking, we're putting on some really good music and we're just jamming out. And I can kind of like smell that he like smokes, which is kind of like my pickup line. You know, like, oh, like, do you want to have a cigarette? And he goes, yeah. So we decided to have a cigarette, but he said, let me sit in the front. And I said, yeah, totally. The mood is great. And then all of a sudden he starts rubbing on my leg. And I was like, whoa. And then so like the thing is like I was into it too, so I started rubbing on his leg. And and so we just stopped the car. And the thing is that, you know, we start kissing and it gets hot and heavy. He whips out his junk. And so we and I was playing with his junk, whatever. And he's British, so you know what that means. We're uncircumcised. But I know. So no, the thing is that
while the clock was on?
Well, of course, I'm gonna charge for that shit. We get hot and heavy, and the thing is that he wanted to fuck me. He says like, I want to fuck you, and I was thinking like, wow, like, after like the first like 30 minutes, usually like it's an hour of the night, like not that easy. And we don't have protection. This guy's nuts. So I was like, well, this is a little bit much. Maybe go back to my place. And he goes, oh no, we can't go back to your place. And I said, I don't think it's gonna happen. We didn't finish from there or anything. I dropped him off, and like when I see him, he's still jerking off. like he really wanted it because he was that drunk.
How many stars did he give you?
5 stars, of course.
It was rush hour, so it was like 6 o'clock. I get a request from this girl off the UCLA campus. And so I pull up, and I see this girl walking towards me, and she looked like she just got out of bed. So she walks over, she looks like she's just tired. She comes up to the window, she's like, hi, are you Eddie? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, hi. She gets in the front seat, which I'm like, oh God. So she gets in the front seat and she goes, we're going to the corner of Franklin and Whitley in Hollywood. And I go, all right. And she goes, how long will that take? And I was like, well, it's rush hour now. So like, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour. She goes, owes me, Jesus. And I was like, are you okay? She goes, it's fine. We're driving. We start talking about just boyfriends and girlfriends, dating. All of a sudden she comes on the topic of drugs. And she goes, have you ever done drugs before? And I go, no, I haven't. So then she goes, oh, well, just so you know, we're gonna pick up drugs.
Oh God.
And I go, oh. So we're going to pick up drugs. We're driving along, we get to Hollywood, Franklin, Whitley, we're at the corner. This guy, she's texting, has not responded yet. We're just sitting there on Whitley, just kind of like, so what's next? What do we do next? Finally, the guy responds, blue Nissan, Northwest corner. I'm like, all right, that sounds shady. So she goes, okay, wait here, and I wait there, and she goes back out. I waited for probably like 10 minutes. So she gets back in the car, takes me back home. Driving along, and she pulls out 2 like dime bags from her bra. And she goes, okay, do you have any paper? And I was like, no, all I had was like a wrapper, and it's like, she goes, okay, fine. So she pulls out like a 20 or something like that out of her pocket. Oh no. Rolls that boy up, pops open the bag, leans the chair back, right? Oh, no. And just, in my car. And I was like, what? Like, what? I was like, yo. So she hits it, she goes, okay. Now I can go to work. I was like, what do you do for a living? I was like, what do you do when you can get high before you even leave? Oh my God, dude. So I drive her back, drop her off, she leaves the car, and that was it.
People are crazy, California's crazy, expect it. Hope for the best, expect the worst. Gird your loins, people.
The Two Gingers podcast is written, hosted, and produced by Sir William Guerin and the Duchess, Kate Curtin. Special thanks to WHRULP for technical assistance and studio space. Head over to our website for more at twogingers.com. That's Gingers with a Z. Also be sure to hit that subscribe button to get our weekly podcasts on Apple Podcasts.